All right, what's up, guys? It's Casey Trades. Just doing a trade recap today on how I sniped the bottom for SPY calls and then sniped the top for SPX puts and QQQ puts. So I have a previous video that says support and resistance changed my life for trading. This is another example of doing just that. So I'm going to go ahead and do this trade recap video. If you're not following me on X, make sure you are following me on X. My @ is CaseyTrade777. Before market had opened up today, I sent my SPY chart with what I was watching on SPY. I sent it out prior and I sent the full game plan that was on it. So if you're go to my X profile, you'll see that before 9:30 a.m. Eastern today on my profile. And essentially what it shows is this chart here on SPY with this trend line running through it, and SPY pre-market was right here. All right, right where it says BOS for break of structure, right here is when it broke above it. So I told everybody, I said, if it pulls back down and it retests where this trend line is and this level around 674.50, I'd be going along on SPY. My targets upside are going to be here and here, and then you have a gap fill to go above right up here. So if you go to the 5-minute right here, we're going to look at previous day. So if you look at previous day, you'll notice we get a big reaction on SPY right here. SPY gets a nice ripper upside, and then it sells all the way back down. SPY bounces right here, goes back upside, comes back down, bounces again, goes back upside, comes back down here, bounces again. So this area, all right here, this is your support or your demand zone. All right. When you get a break of this and a retest rejection of it, it flips from support demand zone to resistance supply zone, right? It's called SR flip. So right over here, consolidation, no big bounce, right? Consolidation, and then they break and close underneath of it right here. Big move downside. They come back up. This is the gap up overnight for futures, and then this is a 4 a.m. for SPY. Comes back down, chops around a little bit, and you'll see sellers again stepping back in right here. They sold it straight back down. So you'll see the move here. They sold it down to here, and then right here, they then sold it back down to here again. SPY then makes higher high, higher low, creeps all the way back up and accepts back into here, and then this big green candle right there. It's not a coincidence on where that big green candle is. That is the bulls overtaking the zone, breaking straight through it. They retest the trend line, they pull back up, and they go higher. SPY then right before market open, this is when I send the chart. I said if it comes back down and it retests this area and they hold it, I'm going to go long SPY right here because this is the FSR flip. Go to the 30-minute on SPY for that chart. There's the break of structure breaking above this trend line, and the trend line is this high that's right up here on SPY, big reaction downside, and then marking the next lower high right here for big reaction downside. Now, when it comes up here and it doesn't get the big red candle for big reaction downside and they break through of it, very, very bullish sign. So instead of chasing it when it comes back down and they retest and hold that area, I get a better entry on my calls, right? And then that is called the SR flip. That's where I take my entry. And then here on the 5-minute, I take my entry here on that little green candle that pulls back and closes right there where that level is at the bottom of the zone. If it would have came back down even the slightest bit down to even here with a red 5-minute candle that closes underneath that zone down here, I would have been out. Very, very good risk reward. Hitting first target upside, going long here, right? Say entering into that candle. That is already putting me almost at a 1 to 4 risk to reward. So risk losing $100 to make 400, right? Going to hit target 2, which is where I sold. My runner was up there. That is a full almost 7 risk to reward. So it's an absolutely beautiful trade. So again, nothing more than identifying where support demand zone is, where buyers are present, flipping it, SR flip for sellers. I know this is an important level, and then nothing more than a break of structure of that trend line for the lower highs, very bullish sign. SR flip lines up perfectly right there, and I go long and I catch this massive move on SPY. So now applying this over to QQQ. So I shorted QQQ today here. We're going to figure out why did I go short right here on QQQ. So let's look at previous sessions here on Qs. Again, supply zone, resistance, support zone, demand zone. All right. So you have supply up here, demand down here, resistance up here, support right here. Every time big reactions happen up here, I go short. Every time big reactions happen down right here, I go long until you get a break and close above or below one of these two where it does the SR flip. Go over to QQQ. What do you see happen here? Bounces back up, retest, rejection, right? This is Tuesdays. This is yesterday right here. So Qs gave a really good short yesterday doing the SR flip right here and creating this demand zone of support now into a supply zone of resistance. That's what makes a market just going above and below one of these zones. Someone has to win the battle and overtake that zone, bulls or bears. When they do, they move it down to the next one and they go back and forth, right? That's just what makes this price action. So supply zone there goes all the way back down. If you draw that zone right here, all the way up, it did nothing more than just retest that area right there and caught the sell off. That is literally the exact same thing that I did on SPY for the upside here. Flip it and reverse it right on QQQ here. And then here it is on the 15-minute, or sorry, this is the 1 hour chart, just a little bit bigger candles. If you go to the 15-minute, here it is. Just slow consolidation and then big red candle reaction right here. This is where I went short, risking if it pushed back up here and just went to high of day. So short here, risking that, catching a move down to here. It even went a little bit farther after hours, but this is right at 4 p.m. And that is a 1 to 3 risk to reward trade. Very, very nice. If you go to the 5-minute, it was absolutely gorgeous. I took it on SPX. Go to SPX. Took it here on that candle, risking this high here. So initially I took 69.15s, which is right there. Lines up with the purple line right here with the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, which you'll see nice reaction there. Retested it, bounced a little bit, started to go back underneath. When it did, actually rolled down to the 68.10s. And then those went into the money. Those are up a couple 100%. And then in the last few minutes, it dumped all the way down to here and puts absolutely went berserk. But main thing there was QQQ puts as well that I was able to alert. Took the SPX live on stream, 0 DTEs, but I took QQQ puts for Monday expiration. And just, I don't like doing 0 DTE trade alerts because they move really, really quick. So I was able to get into the QQQ puts here on this 5-minute candle. And then it had just a smaller little 5-minute candle. Then it really started to go right here. So a lot of people were able to jump in on this one and then catching this whole move down. But again, nothing more than identifying an area where buyers were present. It breaks underneath, retest it. That is called your SR flip. That is where your support gets flipped into your resistance. And now your sellers are present, retested that area, big move down. Same exact strategy, SPY, QQQ, upside, downside, different time frames, doesn't matter. Same exact strategy across the board. And that's how I crushed the market for the upside and downside today. So If you're not using support, resistance, supply, and demand, it is the most simplest and easiest thing you can learn to trade. And I think absolutely every single trader needs to understand how to do this. It works on every single name, every single stock, every single time frame. Doesn't matter. Same strategy every single freaking time. Same shit, different day. And it is my bread and butter for trading. And this is what I look for to trade every single day whenever I log in. So love seeing setups like this. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good night.